Welcome back everybody, it's Untap Your Go, and today we are playing Counters Company in Historic. This is an Abzan deck built around Collect a Company and placing +1/+1 counters on all of our creatures. And you might already notice I'm not playing Stonecoil Serpent, and you're probably wondering why I'm not playing it. And the original list did have all 4 copies of Stonecoil, but it's very clunky and it feels very bad to see 2 copies of Stonecoil Serpent off the top in a pile of Collect a Company, and those be the only 2 creatures that you reveal. So instead, we're playing 2 copies of Mikaeus the Lunarch instead, because yeah, you might still run into the occasional, chance where you might reveal both of these, in a really bad luck or something. You might reveal one or something, and you can't put it into play because it'll come in as a 0/0 and just die. But this is probably the better pick between Stonecoil Serpent and this, because being able to remove the 1/1 counter and place a 1/1 counter on all of your creatures while you have a Winding Constrictor and a Conclave Mentor out is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's insane. So to kick the deck off, the creature we're not playing that does not have anything to do with counters is Llanowar Elves, and that is because we want to ramp into an early Collect a Company as early as turn 3, and we have a lot of 3-drops in our deck, so it is nice to be able to bridge the gap to be able to play these on turn 2. We're playing 3 copies of Swarm Shambler. This is a 1-mana 0/0 that places a counter on itself when it comes into play, and whenever our creatures with 1/1 counters become the target of spells or abilities, we create a 1/1 green insect. So it's going to replace our creatures. Plus, we can pay 1 and tap it to put a 1/1 counter on it, and with these in play, it just, you'll see how that adds up pretty quick. We're playing 4 copies of Luminarch Aspirant because it's going to place a 1/1 counter on the target creature we control at the beginning of our combats. So that's just going to be a nice steady engine to be able to constantly have a reliable source of placing counters on our creatures. And then you notice that we're playing the 4 copies of Winding Constrictor and the 4 copies of Conclave Mentor. We've already had access to Conclave Mentor. Winding Constrictor is the OG of the OG. I'm not sure if this or Hardened Scales came first. I think Hardened Scales came first, right? Concertarchy came out, Dragon, yeah. So it's not the OG, but it's the OG version of Conclave Mentor, essentially. But basically having both of these now, it just increases the redundancy of having this effect and to be able to maximize on placing all of our counters. To kick off the 3-drops, we're playing 4 copies of Taborax, Hope's Demise, and this is a 3-mana 2/2 with flying. As long as it has 5 or more 1/1 counters on it, it has lifelink, and we actually do have a decent amount of clerics in the deck with Mikaeus, Luminarch Aspirant, and Conclave Mentor. So we're actually we're gonna be able to trigger the draw card clause pretty, like, 50-50. It's not like we're playing tribal clerics or anything, but we're not too worried about that effect necessarily. We just really want a nice evasive threat that also, generates counters on its own. And then we're playing 2 copies of Drana, Liberator of Malakir. This card, when it attacks, it deals damage to a player. It puts a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control, and it has first strike. So it's going to deal its damage first, and then place all the counters distributed on all of your creatures before they deal their damage. We're playing 1 copy of Champion of Lambholt, and this is just kind of like a fun of, because if we can rip this off the top with like a Collect a Company, or just, play it naturally and put a couple counters on it, even if, once we get a gigantic, all of our creatures just become unblockable, and that should just be enough to close out any game. And then we're playing 4 copies of Grakmaw, Skyclave, Ravager, and we don't care that this is a legendary, because we can, if we rip one off of Collect a Company and we already have one in play, or we just feel like playing it, it's going to come in as a 3/3 with the 3 counters. And if we have a Conclave Mentor or Winding Constrictor, whatever additional ways to put counters on it, when we sacrifice it, we're just going to get the token anyway. So it's just, we're going to get a creature regardless of how we play this. Then we're playing 2 copies of Knight of Autumn, and this is like our main deck answer to deal with artifacts and enchantments. It's good against aggro, so we can gain some life, and it's good against control, so we can just beat down a little bit. This card's very versatile. It's got a lot of options, and it's just good in almost any matchup. And then we are playing the 4 Collect a Company because we are a Collect a Company deck. In the mana base, it's just everything you would expect in the Shocklands, and we're playing a few copies of the Triome, a few copies of the Fabled Passages, and a mix of basics. And then I have a sideboard, which I will quickly go over for best of 3 players. We have 2 copies of Thoughtseize against control players, 2 copies of Devout Decree against, like the Rakdos Sacrifice deck. You can deal with Croxas and stuff like that, and it's really good against mono red. We have 2 copies of Gaia's Blessing against like the fringe mill decks that are still lurking in the format, and it's just a nice gotcha because they can't really do anything about it. And if you need it against like control or something, it's just a good draw card if you need it. We have 1 copy of Inscription of Abundance. This is for another creature against like creature based matchups, just to be able to like bring in some removal that still works with the game plan to put counters on our creatures, because we do have that additional ability to kick this and have all those modes. We are playing 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze against graveyard-based decks. I was originally going to play Rest in Peace or Grafdigger's Cage. Grafdigger's Cage hurts us because we have Collected Company, and Rest in Peace is a little bit like weak because it's not a creature and we can't rip it off at the top of the Collected Company. So Scavenging Ooze, this is a creature that we can put into play with the Collected Company, so we can find it off the top if we really need to try to have it into play, and then we can just start activating its abilities. And then we have 4 copies of Leyline of Sanctity. This is really good against a lot of things right now, surprisingly. Burn, they can't target your face. Control can't make you discard. They can't settle the wreckage you. If you go up against the fringe, like Shrine decks or something, they can't make you discard with the 4-mana Honden. So, like, there's just so many matchups where this actually comes in really clutch. And then we're playing 2 copies against super wide, small creature-based decks like Goblins or like small mono red or something. Since all of our creatures are going to naturally be able to put counters on themselves, this is almost going to never affect our creatures except our playset of Llanowar Elves. And then all other creatures are going to get -2/-2 to wipe the board and clear the path for us to attack. And that is the deck. I will leave a link down below to my Ether Hub for the deck list. And if you want to see the decks sooner than I upload, that's the way to do it, because I usually upload the deck list at least a few hours sooner than I actually upload the video, sometimes the day before. Also consider joining the Discord down below so you can reach out and talk to me and I can actually interact with you guys, and then you can share your deck lists, ideas, we can just catch up and just like all chill, get together and have some fun. And please, most of my viewers are not subscribers. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. It would help me out a ton. It would mean a lot to me and it would help me provide to you guys better content. So let's take this into the arena and see if we can rack up some easy wins with Counter's Company. Alright, first game up against Script, and I'm pretty sure we can keep this. So we're going to have to mulligan once our opponent decides. So we're going to mulligan. Almost kept it by accident. That would have been horrific. So I'm going to keep this, but I'm not going to lead off with a Temple Garden for the turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Only because I want to be able to play the Luminarch Aspirant first. And we don't have any 3-drops anyway, so we're not worried about bridging the gap. I'm going to go ahead and pass it up. 3 Luminarch Aspirants. Up against a Cycling deck, okay. They don't play a super ton of interaction outside of Zenith Flare, unless this is a completely different deck. Nope, no blocks. Ooh, Arcane Merit is pretty good. We did not hit our land drop. I'm going to play the Llanowar Elves just to be safe. And if we hit our 3rd land, then we can play our Collected Company. But for now, I'm just going to pump up the Llanowar Elves so he's not super weak, and then pass it up. Hope our opponent doesn't have any way to interact with our board. Archon is kind of strange. It's going to slow me down. I need a basic land to have an untapped source. That's rough. Another Drana healer for our opponent. Ooh, you love to see it. Okay. Alright, go to combat. Place a counter on itself. And we'll go ahead and attack for 3 and see if our opponent wants to cycle and chump. No, okay. Opponent takes a 3, we'll pass it up and we can hold up company. They probably see it coming, honestly. We do have 4 untapped mana, we're holding up priority. There's really we're not like trying to sneak around it or anything, but hold it to the last minute. We're not the Gruul deck, we're not worried about trying to play Collected Company main phase, so we can have our haste creatures attack and all that good stuff. Always play this on your opponent's turn in this deck. Opponent goes to attacks. What are the odds that they're holding up any form of counter magic? Let's find out. None. This is a really good draw for us. So I can play Winding. We're definitely taking the Winding Constrictor. I could actually take the Taborax and the Drana and double block the Archon. I don't really think we're worried about the Archon right this second, actually. I'm just going to go ahead and take the Drana and the Winding Constrictor. That's probably the most aggressive. And our opponent just scoops it up. So yeah, I guess I had absolutely no interaction to stop that. Up against GG Comics and Games. I wonder if this is like an advertisement. Like I legit wonder if this is like the owner and operator of this place. I'm gonna look this place up real fast. Oh, that's awesome. GG Comics and Games is a comic book store in Gadsden, Alabama. That's awesome. I'm actually gonna save this. That's really cool. And our hand is really good. I'm gonna keep this. So when we play the Overgrown Tomb, we have 3 Swarm Shamblers. That's interesting. Oh, Swarm Shambler is only when it's a spell, not even an ability. Yikes. That is pretty bad. I mean, obviously, Pel Collector is just like the better one drop in this deck, I would imagine. I only have 1 copy, and I do not have the wild cards currently to craft them. But Swarm Shambler is not a bad alternative by any means. It's pretty solid in this deck. Play out our Conclave Mentor, and we're just going to have to pass it up. I wonder what our opponent's up to. Breeding Pool. And good old Euro. You love to see it. I could play the Mikaeus for 2 and come in as a 3-drop. I could also play it for 2 mana and have it come in as a 2-drop or 2 power and play the Llanowar Elves or another Swarm Shambler. I mean, I think at this point we don't need the Llanowar Elves. We just want to put power into play. So, yeah, I guess I'll just play the Swarm Shambler first. Get the additional counter. And play our Mikaeus for 1. And now, if our opponent doesn't board wipe, our Mikaeus is gonna... Okay, so opponent to fairies the Mikaeus. I don't know, they're gonna untap 2 lands. What can they do for 2 mana? What can they do in Ban for 2 mana? Aether Gust, if they play that main. Could be holding up a counterspell, Birth Spiral. I mean, I really don't want to have to attack down with the Teferi. I just want to go for their life total. But Teferi being on board is probably not good. Especially if it gets to the ultimate, it's over. But we need to put the pressure on our opponent for sure. Alright, so I think what I do... Alright, so I would play this tapped, go to combat. We're going to attack everything, we're just going to hit face. See what our opponent does. Hold up the Mikaeus for the activation. Okay. So fairy, I'm just... That's an interesting one. I wonder if they're playing... Alright, so they might be playing Settle the Wreckage. If they're playing any board wipes, I think I just pass it up. I actually don't think I worry about playing out anything. Opponent decides to proliferate. That's pretty good. This is cool, actually. Okay. Yeah. Alright, opponent. I see what you're up to. This is a cool list. He's gonna get the ultimate on this turn, probably. Oh no, okay. Well, he's gonna get it next turn if we don't kill him. So he gets to untap his lands. He's gonna have... Alright, so he tapped out. He tapped out, so he's gonna get the 2 mana open, so he can't, like, board wipe, but he needs to, like, have these up for chump blockers. And our opponent has enough creatures to block. Unless we attack with the Mikaeus. Okay. So we play Taborax. And then we throw everything at Teferi just to avoid the ultimate. And our opponent wants to save. Wants to save it. It's still going to take 4. So now it's nowhere near close to the ultimate. That's good. They keep one evolution sage. But that's okay. We get to draw some cards. Wow, we actually had multiple clerics on that one, so that was pretty cool. We'll play Llanowar Elves. Pass it up. And now we have a whole grip, so if our opponent board wipes, we can just run out all of our creatures again. Opponent bounces a Taborax, probably for the best. Yeah, pretty cool. Teferi is an awesome follow-up to Teferi. Okay, Evolution Sage getting that Proliferate game on. And they pay the life, I think, so they can draw. Nice, this is pretty cool. Just a Bant Proliferate deck. I like it. Alright, Winding Constrictor's cool. So we'll play that. And we'll play out the Luminarch Aspirant. Go to combat. Place the counters here. Same thing, we're going to double attack the Teferi. Because, I mean, I assume that the Teferi Ultimate is just the win condition in this deck, outside of just growing his creatures. I wonder what other Planeswalkers he might be playing. I can imagine Ugin being really good in this deck, too. Super fast Ugin Ultimates would just be probably plenty enough to shut down a game. The Proliferate, and the Proliferate. If I ever revisit, like, Euphyrexia and Mirrodin and stuff, and we get, like, the OG Proliferate cards, that would be sick. Like, I know we already have, like, an Oxford Tide, I think. I think you can play that. It came out in one of the historic anthologies, I believe. Or either that or Jumpstart. I forget which one, but... Alright, so our opponent's got their Uro. I got plenty of creatures now. It seems like our opponent plays a lot more creatures than they play interaction, so I don't know if they're even going to board wipe us. But we have this effect to put on a bunch of stuff here. So we're going to go ahead. Oh, no, we're not. Our team is still very small. A 6/6 Uro is a wall for us. Ooh. You don't want to see that card. Yeah, game 3. Opponent has 2 cards in grave. I could honestly just kill this Uro. It's really not that bad. I get another 4/4 Swarm Shambler on the following turn anyway. And opponent lets me keep my Winding Constrictor. So unless they have a board wipe. This is actually going to be a 5/5? No, it'll still be a 4/4. Anxious plan for our opponent. They're going to keep proliferating. And there's that Taborax. Well, might as well go ahead and play that. Declare a taboo. Now our opponent is very close to getting the ultimate, and since that is the win condition, I'm going to throw everything at this. If they want to offer trades or chumps, that's perfectly fine by me. They'll get their proliferate. Yeah, that might actually just help them more than anything, but... Get your proliferate. Damn, they get the ultimate there to fairy and keep it. I mean, they were going to ultimate probably next turn anyway. I imagine they would have had some way of proliferating. Sure. Okay. Ooh boy. Oh, that's cheeky, opponent. Don't say good game. You're not even. This isn't good game just yet. Never punished. Now I'm wondering actually, well, we can't play Taborax, so paying the life there was terrible. Go ahead and put that there. Yep. Gotta throw everything at Teferi. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is probably a good game, but... yeah, maybe I should have taken that to Teferi a little bit more seriously in the beginning. It's a very interesting deck, though. Gotta give it to you, GG. This has definitely been a good game. I'm gonna take the 6. I mean, the likelihood of us turning this around are very slim. Now, if we had if we had that last land that they exiled, this would be really cool. Really cool. Alright, so we're just gonna put that on the Winding Constrictor. Yeah, we'll get in for 2. Really? You have a pup spell? Oh, okay. Damn it. Damn it. Are you just gonna exile my Winding Constrictor? Nice. Man. Oh, death. So much pain. Oh, the Evolution Sage. Yeah. I'm gonna hit you with the good game, bud. Alright, our opponent goes first, but our opening hand is okay. Winding Constrictor into Grakmaw isn't bad if we can find our third land. Or Swarm Shambler into Winding Constrictor into Grakmaw. Into Coco. Like, theoretically, this hand has got a perfect curve, and we're not going to be punished. As per usual. Swarm Shambler, turn 1. Saying that always seems to bite me in the ass, but I just gotta say it. Try my luck. I say it and take the chances. Ooh. Ah. Looks like it's doing jumping jacks. I'll never not see that now. Winding Constrictor for us. We'll pass it up. Up against Gobos using Lithoform Engine sleeves. Ballsy, man. His hand is doing the wave. I don't know. I still think this is my favorite sleeve, to be honest. I really like Lay from the Loam. It's like one of my favorite Magic cards. I like Dredge. I like Dredge the mechanic. It's very degenerate, but still a lot of fun to play. Our opponent snags Krenko, so this is gonna be pain very soon. It's very much gonna be pain. Yikes. And our opponent has a treasure, so they have the 4 mana to play it, but I don't know if they'll have a way to give it haste just yet. Giving the tokens, he's gonna create a lot of tokens pretty soon. Ooh. So this is like one of the matchups where it's really bad for us in best of 1. I mean, I probably should just hold this up as a blocker, right? No, I need to start pushing in some damage. But yeah, this is a bad matchup for us game 1, but that's where our sideboard would come into play, and it would be very helpful for sure. Like if I was able to bring in hazardous conditions or something to give all his creatures -2/-2, everything would die except Krenko. Oh, Goblin Chieftain helps. So now he has Krenko haste. Does our opponent attack? Do they get aggressive? They do not, and we are super dead. We are very much super dead. Yup. Maybe we can hit double Knight of Autumn, gain 8 life, and that might just be enough to stabilize us for a turn, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, they're already hitting us for 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. We will survive this turn if we hit 2 creatures. Let's see what we get. Let's grab another green source and run this Collective Company. Okay. Nothing super cool. I mean, if we can get the lifelink, that might help us. We'll play Drana too. So Drana can kill the Goblin Chieftain. I don't know if I really want that to die. So I might have to throw the Swarm Shambler in play here. So we have 10, 12, 14. Yeah, it's still lethal. No matter how I do this, huh? What a shame. No, it's not. I'm terrible at math. So our opponent's just gonna grind us out here. This might be enough, though. I might actually have an... Hold on. So, we fire Collective Company main phase. Champion's good. Doesn't really matter, though. The Luminarch Aspirant's really what we want. Because now we go to combat, put the counter on our Taborax, attack, deal damage, Drana triggers. He has lifelink. And we... Oh my god! And we kill our opponent. Welcome back to the wrap up. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Today we went 2-1, and man, that last game was crazy with that turnaround. Awesome, awesome. The second game was a little rough. I mean, I'm not sure how I would have fared if I focused down the Teferi initially anyway, because our deck doesn't play any interaction really. It's not designed for that. That's what the sideboard is for. Best of 3, obviously your odds in the matchup increase a little bit by, you know, siding and stuff. Generally speaking, you don't want to side in too many non-creature spells because then it makes Collect a Company worse. But in the matchups where you need to bring in a lot, like 4 or more cards, I would just swap out the Collect a Companies, honestly, and turn it into more of like an Abzan mid-range deck, because the creatures on their own are not bad. Like, being able to just play these on their own will win you the game. Collect a Company is just bread and butter on top. And obviously, like, it really helped us win that last game by playing double Collect a Company and just hitting like every creature that we needed to hit. But, you know, again, if you need to like side out to bring in the hazardous conditions against heavy matchups, or like Sanctity for burn, you know, Thoughtseize for control, if you need to cut too many things that really like pull you away from the counters plan and you go down too many creatures, just trim up on these or something. That would really help with the sideboarding. But otherwise, that is the deck. I hope you enjoyed. Again, check the list out down below at the Ether Hub so you can try it out yourselves. And please join the Discord. Come talk to me. Say hello. Bye.